Hi, everybody. It's Stir Crazy in the Kitchen Day. That means it's Monday, and we are here. The new year is flying by. January 13th already. Lynn Thielen of Roth Living and I are here to host this. Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Gab. How are you doing today?
I'm just hoping everything is as good as the spoon bread was.
Ooh, I feel like it will be. I've seen the ingredients. I've kind of smelled what's going on upstairs. It's going to be great.
I've never had anything bad that Ben has
I know. Same. I have to. Same. So.
And again, let's tell everybody that although they can see the recipes here today on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, but they're also on stircrazyinthekitchen.com, where if you go to that, like, subscribe, you get a recipe, whatever we're making, every time we make one, thanks to Lynn getting them up and writing them and Gabby talking. But you can have your own personal chef there for every little detail. So are we ready to go, Lynn?
I think we're ready to go. Should we do it?
Yeah. Chef Ben, what are we doing today?
What are we doing? We're doing a weeknight dinner, Gabby. We're going to do something it's very popular these days, what we call sheet pan dinners, where you can cook everything on a single tray, right? Put it all together, roast it or bake it in your oven. So everything is combined together, sort of the old idea, kind of a spin-off of the old one pot meal sort of idea. But the idea of putting everything onto a baking sheet, putting it into a nice hot oven, cooking it off. And you can do it, obviously, you can do it with vegetables, you can do it with different kinds of protein, all that kind of stuff. But it's just nice because it makes cleanup a little easier, all that kind of stuff. And everything's in one place. You're not making, a starch over here and maybe some veg over there. You've got everything together in one place. So it's a quick weeknight.
I like your way.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice way for that. Don't be intimidated when you see the recipe and you see there's what looks like a long list of ingredients. That's just really for the marinade, for that glaze, the pepper glaze for our chicken thighs. Don't be intimidated by it. The nice thing about it is all these ingredients, you can easily get them at a local supermarket, even something as exotic as Korean bean paste, right? Chili bean paste, you can get that at the supermarket.
Really?
So absolutely. You can get it right there at King Soopers in the Asian foods aisles right there. I don't know why they segregate it that way all the time, but they do, and it's there, so you can get it and easily put it together. And then we've got some nice fresh vegetables. Obviously, it's January. Everybody's on their health kick now. We're going to the gym. We hope, right? We're going to be able to go to the gym instantly.
Sure.
We got fingers crossed, right?
I need to.
And all of those things. So we want to eat healthy. We want to do all those things. And this is a pretty healthy way. We got lots of nice veg to go with our chicken dish. So without further ado, we can get started here on our marinade. Now, you're going to want to use your blender for this. Makes it the easiest way to make the marinade is to use the blender and then just combine everything in there and puree it up and put it on the chicken thighs, right? So let's make the mixture, and so you'll see all the different ingredients that are going to go into our marinade. So we're going to start with a nice base. We got some fresh ginger, right? Always good to have some good fresh ginger. We've got some garlic, just some coarsely chopped up garlic, right? A little more garlic than ginger in this recipe. Now here's where it gets interesting. We're going to use some chili flakes. Now these can be pretty much any kind of chili flake you'd like. You can use like the kind that you put on your pizza, the crushed red chili flake. I'm using a Korean crushed chili flake, but you can use just any kind of chili flake that you'd like. Just remember that you can also then kind of vary the heat a little bit. If you want this whole dish to be not quite as spicy, then maybe for this you might substitute paprika or a smoked paprika, something of that line, so that it's not quite as hot, right? So that's going to really determine how spicy this dish is going to be. This is like a medium to hot spice, so we're going to use about 2 tablespoons of chili flakes there. Then we've got some soy sauce, which I'm now spilling all over the counter, but that's good. I'm just going to wipe that up. All right. So soy sauce.
You look like a cook.
That's right. A little bit of salt, tiny bit of sugar. Now we've got some mirin or sake, which is mirin is a sweetened rice wine. You can also get this at any local supermarket. Just you'll find it in a little plastic bottle there in the Asian food aisle. Got a little bit of honey, right? So I'm going to put some honey in here as well. Honey and sugar, right? Then for a little acidity, I've got some pineapple juice.
It's fun.
I know.
And then here's what's the great, this is gochujang, which is chili, Korean chili bean paste right here. Like you can, and again, you can find this at most any Asian supermarket. If you want to go that far, or at a regular supermarket, you're going to find it as well. The nice part about going to some of the Asian markets is that you're going to get a different choices. So you can get some that are just a little bit hotter than others. So that's really up to you, right? And then the last thing we're going to add is some sesame oil. And I like to use toasted sesame oil whenever I can. I just think the flavor is a little richer. All right, so now we're just going to blend that up.
What else would you use that paste for?
What else?
Yeah.
Oh, you can use it on vegetables. You can use it as a grill, and you can thin it out and use it on the brush for grilled vegetables, things like that. Give it
Okay. Well, once you're buying that box, I thought maybe I could have something else to do with it. Oh, look at he's cooking again.
I know. There it goes.
They don't always come this big, right? You can get them smaller. So you don't
Okay.
have to
Well, that
like
was why I asked the question.
And it'll keep in your fridge for a good long time. All right. It'll keep in your refrigerator for a good long time. So we've got our chicken thighs. These are bone-in chicken thighs. I've taken the skin off, right? The skin is removed, right? Just because when you roast it, sometimes with the extra moisture in there, you try to get the skin crispy, you're going to blast everything else into submission, right? So now let's just spill out the contents of our marinade onto the chicken thighs. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to think it way in advance for this, right? It's not something you have to think, okay, I got to marinate those chicken thighs overnight or even for a couple of hours. What you want to do is in this order. You want to marinate the chicken thighs while you're preparing the vegetables for the rest of your dish, right? That's all you need to do. This has a lot of flavor, right? So we want to make sure that we get that all blended in. Get your chicken thighs nicely coated.
So you're not trying to tenderize them or anything?
No, you're not. So we're just going to set that aside while we finish up the rest of our vegetables. Right?
And you said, Chef,
yes,
that's going to be like a medium hot as far as temperature goes, the way you did those
it's going to
ingredients?
be about medium hot. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. All right. So here's the vegetables that we've got for this, right? You're going to want to use some shiitake mushrooms, right? If you can find them in your market, sometimes you'll find them pre-sliced. Sometimes you'll find whole caps, whatever you prefer. This is about 4 ounces of sliced shiitake mushroom caps, and just use the caps. Don't use the stems, because the stems on a shiitake mushroom, they never cook. I mean, you'll be chewing on that thing for a month and a half. So just don't use the stems. Just use the caps, right? And we're going to put those into a big mixing bowl here. And then the other vegetables we're going to use is we're going to use some white onion, some fresh white onion that we've just got peeled here. And you're just going to want to cut it across into thick rings. So, ½ an inch to an inch thick. And when you get down to the end, take the part that has the core in it. You don't want to use that, because then you can't separate your onions into nice thick rings. Going to put those into our bowl with our mushrooms. So you can see this isn't that much work. The work is coming up next with the carrots, right?
But so far I'm impressed.
All right. So
We're
here we
still
go.
alive to do this.
I know.
Right, so we've got just separate your onions into nice individual layers, right? So you just have like onion rings, okay? So onion rings with the mushrooms right there. So then we've got some Yukon Gold potatoes. We've got some small ones, right? Don't let them get too big, right? You want to be about, the size of, what is that, a golf ball? So All right. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to cut them in half, and then I'm going to cut them in half again so we get nice quarters, but you want them cut lengthwise like that, right? Fairly substantial pieces, just like so. All right, those are going in as well. All right, so at the market, I like these organic carrots. They come in a bunch like this, right? And there's like usually 8 to 10 in a bunch, and they come with the stalk. It's the stems, the greens attached to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my peeler. I'm going to peel it after I've washed it first. Just give it a nice peel. Then I'm going to take my scissors. I'm just going to clip the stalk about, oh, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch above. So you just have this little green bit that's sticking up the top. Just looks nice. You're not going to eat it likely, but it just looks good. And then if you notice, sometimes there's a little bit of the peel left right at the top. Just take your paring knife and just scrape from the very top down, just real quickly, to just get any additional peel, or if there's any dirt that's accumulated right at the base of the stem of the leaves, the greens, then that's off too, and you have a nicely peeled carrot. And you can see they're all about the same size, right? They're all, generally speaking, about the same size. And we're going to leave them whole because it just looks nice.
Okay.
Not cutting. Now, if you want to cut them, feel free to cut them in half, right? Or if you don't want to do carrots like this, you can cut big chunks of just regular sized carrots. That's perfectly fine. But again,
These are delicious though.
Exactly. Just kind of get them down into a size that they're fairly consistent in terms of the size. And then the last thing, right, we're going to add some kale, some fresh kale. So I've taken some kale and I've just washed it. And we want to remove this rib that's in the back because that'll never cook. I don't care if you cook it for a week, it's still going to be. So we're just peeling it off.
It'll taste like kale.
Right? But the nice thing is roasted kale gets a lot better. So we want to just take these pieces of the leaves and just kind of give them a toss, give them a tear so that they're in, bite-sized pieces like so, right? So this is just one bunch of kale. So a bunch of carrots, one bunch of kale, one onion, right? About 4 ounces of mushroom
Does kale
cap.
cook down like spinach?
No, not as much, which is nice, right? It holds its shape just a little bit better, right? All right, so here's all of our veg right here. Now we're just going to add a little bit of oil to season that up. We've got some sesame seed oil, right? About a tablespoon or so, which is pretty much all I've got left. And then we've got about a tablespoon of just a neutrally flavored oil, like a grapeseed oil or even a little vegetable oil on there. Okay.
Not olive oil?
And not olive oil, no. Little grind of black pepper. And then a nice, just a good pinch of kosher salt. You got a lot of flavor from that marinade, so you don't really need to, season the vegetable too heavily, right? So now we want to just toss these, not on the counter preferably, but just in the bowl.
Oh, yes, we do.
Get them tossed and just lightly coated. That's all you're worried about. It's just getting a nice light coating. Carrots are flying everywhere. There we go, right? It's like a real kitchen. Right? Making a big mess. Okay. So
That's
I've
how
taken
we
a
all
big,
cook. I hate to
I
tell you.
know.
taken a baking sheet and I've lined it with a little bit of aluminum foil, right? That's again, just for ease of cleanup. And now I'm just going to spread the vegetables out onto this tray, right? Now, spread them out as thinly, in a fairly consistent layer if you can. Doesn't have to be, layered in a particular way where like the potatoes are on the top and the kale's on the bottom. Just kind of arrange it so that it's pretty well spread out on the tray, just like that. Okay. Then we're going to take our chicken and just take the thighs and just kind of arrange them right on top, just like this.
Well, it looks healthy, spicy, flavorful, delicious, and easy. I mean, it's just so
easy.
pretty.
I know, and it looks so hearty. It looks so.
Middle of the
So then
week,
just make
it
sure
looks like
that all the, if you have any marinade left in your pan, in your bowl, which you should, just kind of just spread it out on the entire, because you don't want to waste all that flavor, right? Get all that flavor on there. So now the oven set 375 degrees, okay? Just got it set in that nice, you know, nice, a little bit hotter than you might normally do chicken. You know, I've got this one upside down. That's not good.
It won't notice.
So it won't notice, it's true. And then you're gonna bake these, you wanna bake them till the internal temperature on your chicken thigh is about 165 degrees. That's gonna take anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, depending on your oven, right? But the vegetables will be nicely cooked and soft, and you know, they're not gonna be crispy roasted. They're not gonna be anything like that. You're not gonna get a lot of that color, but you're gonna get a really great amount of flavor through everything on that.
You don't have to turn these or anything.
You don't. You should leave them so they're face up the entire time. So I've got my oven ready to go here, and here's one that's just finishing now.
Oh my gosh. Well, I thought the spoon bread was going to be the best, but
So here you can see you've got.
this is a whole meal.
It really is. It's all in one place. This pan gives you everything, and you can see, you know, the kale gets a little bit crispy, like kale chips,
Right.
a little bit on there. But now your potatoes are nice and soft. Your carrots are nice and soft. So you can just see they're nice and tender on your potatoes, and just let it sit here. Once you take it out of the oven, let it sit on your countertop for like 5 to 7 minutes. Just let everything kind of rest. Let those flavors kind of coalesce back together, and then serve it up, and you have the whole meal right here. It's all done for you in one place, not doing separate pots and things like that.
It's
So
fabulous.
really easy to make. So
I have a chicken question.
what's the chicken question?
Okay, this is just in general. When you're cooking a chicken breast or a chicken thigh, sometimes when I put it in the oven after the 45 minutes, I know it's cooked. I mean, you know, if I take it out, it's cooked.
Right.
And unless I have 2 really bad meat thermometers, they don't get up to 165.
Huh. So your chicken thigh is never reaching that internal temperature, is what you're saying?
Or breast, yeah.
More the breast is reaching it. So
It isn't.
So I would, if you're doing a chicken breast, first thing I would say that 165 is too high. I would lower that temperature to be closer to 145 to give you a nice, moist, tender chicken breast. That's going to give you a much nicer consistency. It's going to be moist. It's going to have a lot more flavor. But then with the chicken thigh, you definitely want to get it to 165 just because it makes the quality of the meat on the thigh so much more palatable and enjoyable when you're eating it.
Well,
So
I am asking this because I think it happens to a lot of us.
it does. I mean,
you don't know what to do.
Right. So definitely with your breast, especially your boneless, skinless chicken breast, 145 is going to be a perfectly safe temperature
and
to
the
consume.
thigh should be 160.
165 would be an ideal temperature.
Well, then
for
my
your
meat
chicken
thermometer isn't broken.
Right. So, but yeah, that's going to be the best way. But you can see how quick this goes, and then you can vary this if you want to change up the vegetables or something like that. What you got in your refrigerator, in your pantry that you might want to throw in there as additional veg. But that's going to give you just a really nice preparation. A little bit spicy, so just make sure you warn the young folks about it. It might be a little bit, might be a little spicy for children, but I think most people are going to enjoy this.
But you know what is so great about something like this is there was a pandemic, there's you're quarantined, and this has got great flavor. It's easy, and it's something different than saying, "Oh, here we go."
Right. And then you'll get to start experimenting with the gochujang, which is a really remarkably versatile ingredient that you can use in all sorts of things. You can learn to, you can make a barbecue marinade for your ribs using that, a little bit spicier, or some different ideas. And this marinade, again, you can use it not just on this chicken, but it might be great again on all different cuts of pork or even some cuts of beef that you can put onto the barbecue or wherever you'd like to cook once you're back outside grilling or whatever.
Chef, if you make it, it's fabulous.
I don't know about that.
You never let us down. I can hardly wait to see what we're getting next week. Lynn and I will be waiting, except she
You
tasted
waiting?
before
Right.
me, and I'm really
I know. I'm
in the
so
meantime,
sorry.
don't forget to go to stircrazyinthekitchen.com, like and subscribe so you can see us on YouTube, Facebook, whatever you watch us on Instagram each week, and you can get the recipes. And actually, I'm making myself a little cookbook of Chef
Oh,
Ben's recipes. So we might
lovely.
maybe we'll put one out one day and send it to all of you. And we can't thank you enough for your time and for watching us. Chef Ben, we love you.
See you
Lynn
next
loves
week,
you.
Abby.
See you next week.
All
See you
right.
next week, guys.
All
Have
right.
a good
Bye-bye.
one.